I'm going to talk about how I cycle tanks. Well, basically instant cycle. There's a lot of controversy about it. A lot of people say, oh, you can't instantly cycle a tank. Well, I'm telling you, you can. And the way I do it, and the way I did it with these guys, and these are cherry shrimp, which are very susceptible to, differences in water temp, water this, water that. They're basically a pain in the ass, especially if you want to move them. I already had a canister filter on this tank, but I had a planetary outbreak, so I got all my shrimp out, sorted it all out, all the plants, everything. Basically I had I had the substrate, I sort of cleaned it a little bit, but basically that's still the same old substrate that I had with the planaria, my friends at planaria. Nothing else. Just that, I replaced a lot of water because it wasn't actually a planaria, and there's another video I talked about. I put a log in that I think got sprayed by pesticides, and all my shrimp went apeshit. They did not like it. They did not like it one bit. So anyway, long story short, I'd done water changes, nothing, so I ended up having to take this whole tank apart. And over the course of it, I think I had baby shrimp in here, or I had little shrimp in here, so they ended up being my guinea pigs. So anyway, the filter media was untouched. I ended up still cleaning the canister filter out and everything. Basically that was it. So I put it back. I'd done multiple water changes, and the shrimp that were left in the tank weren't showing any signs of stress or anything, so I just thought I'd leave it. So obviously whatever I put in the tank didn't kill off all the beneficial bacteria, which is good. Then I proceeded to slowly add more shrimp. I really don't remember too much what I did, but I think I always had the duckweed, I had the little shrimp there, and then I think at the end of the day I took the shrimp out of here, put them outside with my other shrimp, and brought the yellows in. And that's about it. I didn't do anything else, I never changed anything, just your regular water changes and an already cycled canister filter. Even though I put pesticide in this tank, I still had a canister filter, but to be honest, I left the canister filter in here probably, I don't know, it wouldn't have been a month. Most people say, oh, you got to leave your tank cycle for at least 4 weeks, blah blah blah. I think it was maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, but like I said, the entire time I had shrimp in this tank. Not a lot, stuff all, and I wasn't feeding them. I didn't do anything. I just probably had some Java moss in here, and that's what I'm getting at with cycling tanks. If you're gonna cycle a tank, especially if you want an instant cycle, just get media from another established tank. Like I have a lot of sponge filters that I have outside, inside, and if I'm preparing to do another tank, I'll just add another sponge filter to that tank. Right, give it maybe a week, 2 weeks, maybe a bit longer depending, and then take the established sponge filter out, clean it a little bit, put it in your new tank. What I also try and do is use already tank water, not fresh water that I've acquired through the tap and then use the water conditioner. I actually use the same tank water for the new tank, to try and not stress the beneficial bacteria out any more than it has to be. So I add all this to the tank, so I might only have half of the tank water, and then I'll do as you would a water change, maybe 10-20% of new water, and that's it, and have maybe a couple of inhabitants, whether they be fish, shrimp, anything, don't matter. just something. But I will not feed them for a day or two, maybe a little bit longer, depending on the tank. I'll just take you over to my other tank. This one's a perfect example. I just had the sponge filter in this, and I had the water maybe here. Also testing to see whether the tank actually had any leaks or anything, because I bought this tank secondhand. It's a nice tank actually. Anyway, and I had some guppy fry in here. That's it. Maybe two guppy fry, maybe 3. Didn't feed them. Put a bit of moss in there. That's it. And obviously with guppy fry, they'll just eat the little friends that are, grow on the moss. So it's not a big deal. You don't have to feed them. And I think I left it for about a week, and over that space of time I probably added a fair bit of new water, but up to here was old tank water, and I had a sponge filter from that. So obviously I've done a water change or several water changes, put a sponge from outside inside, use that same water where the sponge came from to top the tank up, put a couple of fish in it, that's it. Didn't feed, didn't do nothing. I left that for about a week, maybe a bit longer, but within that week slowly did water changes. I think those fry now, that little blonde guy right there, that's one of them. That's one of the guinea pigs, and there's the other one. There's both of them. I had both of them in this tank at the start. So that's an instant cycle. There's nothing wrong with them. Perfectly healthy, swimming around. Yeah. And there's obviously a few others running around, but they're the ones that I knew that I'd be able to focus on because they're actually a different colour to the rest of my guppies. So I knew that if there was an issue, they wouldn't survive. But both of them have survived doing what I did. So I suggest if you want to do an instant cycle aquarium, get sponge filters are probably the best way to do it. Obviously you can do the canister filter. I know people grab or they'll squeeze some sponge filter in a canister, a brand new canister, but I don't know how long that takes. I've never done that. All I do is actually take a sponge filter out of an established aquarium that's been in there for quite some time. Obviously I have other sponge filters in the same tank, so I'm not just taking it straight out. Also, live plants are a must. If you're going to cycle an aquarium, you've got to have live plants. And I mean, like, if you can do it, a lot. And if you can manage, get duckweed. Duckweed is the best cycling plant. I can't stress that enough. I mean, I'm actually flat out trying to grow duckweed in this tank. I think that's all the duckweed I have in this tank. Most of it lives on the side of the tank, but that's only because I'm constantly doing water changes. But that's all I can't grow it in this tank. And it's because all the other plants are taking up the nutrients. I mean, I even have string algae in here somewhere, and I'm leaving that just to show that the Java moths will actually end up taking over the string algae. I don't have any algae outbreaks whatsoever, and I have quite high light about there. It's really high, but then as it gets down, obviously it doesn't have less effect. But I'm still growing hair grass at the bottom of this tank. There's a 3-foot tank, and the light's up there. So it just goes to show that I do have high light, yet I'm not growing, I'm not full of algae. And I have a lot of guppies in this tank, and they are poop machines. So yeah, basically lightly stocked, but you have to put fish in. To do an instant cycle aquarium, you have to have fish or shrimp or something that's going to feed your biological bacteria. That I wouldn't feed for a couple of days because the beneficial bacteria has to be able to get used to that's why I use old tank water. I'll use the water they're already used to, the parameters they're already used to, and then have a couple of fish in there just to keep that cycle going, and then do water change, just top up the tank throughout the week, and see how you go and see how those fish are after, a week, and then add a couple more. And then maybe give them a feed or not, it's up to you. But I use babies because they'll just eat off the moss and stuff like that, eat all the little bugs. So you don't actually have to feed it and then after a week you'll pretty much have an established aquarium. But basically right off the bat you have an established aquarium. All you're doing is just letting the beneficial bacteria build enough up again to be able to handle the load that you're putting in. I don't suggest go out, put a sponge filter in your tank and then overstock your tank. You definitely have to understock. You have to let the tank get used to the stocking and then maybe add a couple more. But you know, again, I'm a big advocate for filtration, so you can never have enough filtration. Anyway, that's my experience, that's how I cycle tanks, and I've never had issues.